Most people think that Dobermans are communicating with them through barking, body language, or maybe commands. But if you've owned a Doberman long enough, you eventually realize something kind of unsettling. Your Doberman is communicating with you constantly without making a sound. Through eye contact, tiny movements, the way they position themselves around your house, the way they look at you before you even move. And once you notice these patterns, you can't unsee them anymore, because suddenly you realize this dog has been reading me the entire time. Not just your actions, your mood, your stress, your routines, even the things you're trying not to show. And what's crazy is a lot of this is actually backed by science. This is the hidden language of the Doberman. The eye contact that feels human. One of the first things Doberman owners notice about this breed is the eye contact. And I'm not talking about normal dog eye contact. I mean that long, sustained stare where it really feels like your dog is trying to understand what's happening inside of your head. And what's really interesting is that research actually shows that dogs use eye contact as a social bonding mechanism with us humans. One study showed that prolonged eye contact between dogs and owners increases oxytocin levels in both of them. Yes, oxytocin, which is the exact same bonding hormone associated with mothers and their newborn babies. But with Dobermans specifically, it's even more intense, because this breed doesn't just glance at you and move on. They hold that gaze almost like they're studying you. And if you've ever owned one, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And what's even crazier is that research also shows that they rely heavily on body posture and full body movement to read emotional information, sometimes even more than your facial expressions. So while your Doberman, looks like they're just staring at your face, they may actually be reading your entire emotional state at the same time. The micro movements. Dobermans are constantly making these tiny little adjustments around you that most owners don't consciously notice at first. But if you watch your Dobie closely, you'll see it. The small head tilts, the tiny posture changes, the subtle repositioning when you start talking to them. And contrary to popular belief, the head tilt is not just a cute, confused behavior. There's actually research showing that they tilt their heads significantly more when actively processing meaningful words or when they're trying to retrieve information that they actually recognize. In other words, your Doberman might not be confused at all. They may actually be concentrating harder, and the head tilt might be indicating that they understand portions of what you're saying. And once you realize that, those little subtle movements suddenly start feeling a whole lot less random and a lot more intentional, almost like the dog is just constantly refining its understanding of you in real time. Watch for these little head tilts and realize that research supports the fact that they do this when they understand at least a portion of what you're saying when this happens. And you'll start actually seeing small snippets into what your Doberman is actually understanding when you're talking to them. And it'll absolutely blow your mind. The silent follow pattern. Now, this is one of the biggest Doberman things ever. Doberman owners always talk about the breed being a Velcro dog, but I don't think people fully understand what's actually happening there, because they're not just following you around the house randomly. They position themselves strategically. Doorways, hallways, transitions between rooms. And what's fascinating is that Doberman owners have been independently describing this exact behavior online for years. The breed has this almost eerie tendency to maintain proximity with you without being directly on top of you all the time. Okay, well, sometimes they are on top of you. They don't just want to be near you, they want to monitor the movement near and around you too. And once you realize that, the behavior starts feeling a whole lot less like a clingy Velcro thing and a lot more purposeful and, frankly, a little eerie when you start paying attention to it. The pre-reaction. This might be the weirdest part of all. Doberman owners constantly notice their dogs reacting before they physically do something. And I'm talking little things like getting up before you stand up, or heading towards the door right before you grab your keys, looking towards the leash before you even move. And believe it or not, science actually gives us an explanation for this. Research shows they don't just respond to human actions, they actually respond to human intentions. They're tracking patterns, routines, posture changes, emotional cues, and even tiny predictive signals that most humans don't consciously notice, even in themselves. Which means that your Doberman is not just reacting to what you did, they're reacting to what you're about to do. It's absolutely insane. And honestly, once you start noticing that behavior, it gets a little uncomfortable sometimes because it feels almost impossible, but you actually do start seeing it. You know, honestly, this really kind of deep emotional awareness is one of the reasons Doberman owners become completely obsessed with their dogs. And I mean like genuinely obsessed. And not like normal dog owner obsessed either. I'm talking about the kind of people who throw birthday parties for their dogs, build entire routines around them, and buy, orthopedic beds that somehow cost more than the human version. And honestly, once you own a Doberman, you kind of understand it because this breed doesn't just feel like a dog. They become incredibly woven into your daily life. And that's a huge reason why so many Doberman owners are switching over to Ollie for their Doberman's diet, because Ollie makes fresh, human-grade meals formulated with veterinary nutritionists for your dog and customized specifically for your dog's needs, their activity level, and their size. And with Dobermans especially, owners are constantly paying attention to energy levels, to focus, their digestion, the skin, coat, just their overall well-being. And having their nutrition dialed into that level really becomes a big deal. Oh, and by the way, feeding quality protein and a high level of it is super important for this breed too. And actually right now when you sign up, Ollie's including a free Kong toy with your first box too. You just choose the size at checkout, spread some Ollie food on the inside, and your Dobie was gonna go absolutely insane with that combo. Trust me, it's honestly a super good way to mentally engage them and help settle themselves too. Oh, and a little training tip for you guys here, use this method to associate positive feelings with anywhere in your house. This Kong toy with Ollie spread on the inside, put it in their pen, in their crate, on their yoga mat for a go to place command, anywhere that you want good feelings associated. So if you want to check it out, you can just scan that QR code up on your screen if you're watching this on a smart TV, or if you're watching on a computer or other device, just tap that link right down below and use the coupon code DobermanPlanet at checkout. It'll get you 60% off your very first box. I definitely take advantage of this deal before it's over, guys. I don't think you're gonna be disappointed. The energy shift. Okay, this section is where things start to get really interesting because Dobermans are unbelievably sensitive to their emotional shifts of their owners, and not just, the obvious emotions either. I'm talking about little things like subtle stress, tension, anxiety, frustration, all of it. There's actually research out there showing that dogs can chemically detect human stress through odor alone, even before humans visibly show any signs of stress. And Dobermans have amazing scenting abilities, and they're one of the most human-focused breeds alive, which means when you combine that, your Doberman may literally know when you're stressed before even the people around you do. This is also why so many Doberman owners say that their dog acts differently around different people, because they're not just reacting to actions, they're actually reacting to emotional energy and the internal state. The lean and physical contact. Every Doberman owner knows the Dobie Lean, that moment where they quietly press against you, they lean into your leg or put weight against your body. Most owners interpret this just as affection, and sometimes it, absolutely is, but some trainers also believe strongly that this behavior may act as a form of nervous system grounding for your dog, where the dog uses physical contact with you to emotionally stabilize themselves. In other words, your highly sensitive Doberman may not just be comforting you, they may also be regulating themselves through you. And honestly, that explains so much about this breed, because Dobermans aren't known only for, emotionally attaching to their owners, but emotionally sort of synchronizing with them too. The check-in loop. If you've ever walked with a Doberman off leash, you've seen this constantly. The repeating looking back at you, the eye contact during movement, the constant re-engagement, they seem to always do this out and about. Now, most people think that their dog checks in with them for, permission, but research is actually suggesting something much more interesting might be happening. They actually use owners as emotional reference points when assessing the environment around them. So when your Doberman keeps, looking back at you, they might not be asking what to do. They may be asking, how should I feel about this? And that is what makes this breed feel so different from so many others, because they're not just existing around you, they're syncing with you constantly. Once you start understanding all these little behaviors together, the eye contact, the silent following, the emotional sensitivity, the anticipation, the check-ins with you, you realize something really important about the Doberman. This breed was never designed to just coexist with humans. It was designed to work with humans closely, constantly, almost as an extension of them. And I honestly think that's why Doberman owners become so obsessed with this breed. If you've owned a Doberman for any amount of time, I guarantee you've seen at least some of these behaviors. I want to hear all about it. Let me know what you've noticed from your Dobie down in the comments down below. I just love reading them. And if you want to better understand how Dobermans think, communicate, bond, and navigate the world around them, make sure you're subscribed and check out these videos about to pop up on your screen right now. Because here at Doberman Planet, we go way deeper on this incredibly unique breed of dog.